Namaste and hello. Welcome to yet another episode of The Light Within. In this episode, we are going to talk about a topic which can be heavy to many, but it's an important subject. Unfortunately, we don't even have it in our awareness, much less our actions about it. So let me cut short the preamble and get straight to it. The topic for today's podcast is the ancestral aspect. What's your role in the ancestral trauma and the opportunity that you have in this lifetime? You know, this is one of the subjects which is very close to my heart. I don't know why, but at times I feel very grateful to have this understanding. Because if you do have the understanding of this aspect, then you also see the wholeness of your existence. The people who came before you, the ones who laid the foundation for you, the ones who created the life that you are living, and those who will come after you. Most of us are so caught up with our lives that we don't see the huge expanse of universe and our place in it. I urge you to first expand your view. Wherever you are listening to me, if it's a room, expand your consciousness to your apartment fully. Go a little further ahead and expand your consciousness to your building. Go further. Visualize your locality. Go beyond and see the city. Now expand and further visualize the country. Go further. Look at the continent. Move further ahead and look at the earth. Go beyond. See the galaxy. And then the universe. Now come back. Now do the same thing with your lineage. See your parents. See your grandparents. Think about how your great-grandparents looked like. Think about their parents, meaning your great-great-grandparents, and so on. I know it's not easy, because maybe you haven't even seen your great-grandparents. But when you expand your view, you realize that your existence is not an accident. Your talents, your looks, your family, everything that you're thankful for has come from somewhere. There might be things that you're not very thankful for, and even then you realize that it has come from somewhere. I need you to ponder on that as well. Maybe you're not consciously aware, but subconsciously there could be beliefs that you might be carrying which are not your own. They have been passed on to you from somewhere because you were the next in the line. You have this responsibility to lighten up the burden for yourself and this brilliant opportunity to ease things for yourself and the ones who will come after you. If you're lucky, you probably have both your parents and grandparents, but a lot of us don't have one of our parents or grandparents, or maybe both have transitioned to another plane. Now, I do not have any intentions to trigger you. What I want to tell you is that we just don't pay attention to the fact that we came from somewhere. There were a set of people, community, and where we got our physical features, our beliefs, comforts, discomforts, and so on. One of the greatest responsibilities that we have in this lifetime is to honor those who brought us here and be responsible for those who we have created. Whether you have thought about it or not, I want you to bring it to your awareness now. You might say that, oh, I already know all that and I'm taking care of my elders and children. What more do you expect? Well, it's not about expectations. It's about the understanding of the vastness of your existence. It is not limited to the physical existence that you have. It is much beyond, which you and I don't realize because we are caught up. But once we have this awareness, we understand that we have two main jobs: to thank the ones who came before us, heal what is unhealed, and pave a clear and healed way for the generation which follows us. you and I have such an important role to play. In case this message hasn't landed well and you feel very burdened with this responsibility, I want to tell you that if you understand this, you will also clear a lot of karmic baggage, not only for yourself, but for your entire lineage. Isn't this thought liberating? Let me break this up for you and share a few perspectives. See your journey as a soul. There is a purpose behind why your soul chose to incarnate through a specific lineage in this particular lifetime. We know that we are not here for the first time, and we don't know where we were before, what we did. However, the karmic imprint stays. This isn't just true for us as individuals, but also for places. Have you experienced that some places have a creepy energy versus some places just elevate you? Places, cities where atrocities have happened will always carry that imprint until gradually someone elevates the consciousness and pays out the karmic debts. This may take thousands of years, but that is how it works. For example, places where that have been deeply affected by wars often carry a cultural and historical memory that shapes the identity of the region. The impact of war can be seen not only in the physical scars of the landscape, but also in the collective consciousness of people who live there. Similarly, we don't know the people who came before us, what they did, the repercussions of their actions. However, the fact is that we are a part of that lineage now, and hence, good or bad, it's our responsibility to not add to what is already there. Our job is to look at our own journey as a soul and do our duties. Therefore, there's no one to blame for anything that occurs. See this as a contract which the higher part of yourself has already signed up, and now you have to honor that contract or commitment. This was one of the perspectives where you need to look at your journey as a soul. Another perspective to understand your role in the lineage is to heal the ancestral trauma. We are carrying a lot of burden in our consciousness which we don't even know about. Imagine a scenario where a family goes through a bitter dispute over inheritance. We see such cases and many more around us all the time, in our neighborhood, in our society, or maybe even we go through such disputes within the family. Imagine a scenario where there is a dispute about property in a family. There are two brothers who inherit the property from their parents, and there are disagreements about how to divide the property. It leads to a prolonged legal battle. With time, obviously the families will grow apart. But what really happens there is not only do they grow apart, they also get bitter. And that bitterness gets transferred to the next generation. Now, the children who follow the next generation are not even aware of what actually happened back then, but the bitterness has been fed onto them, and so then their responsibility is to carry that, because they think that they are honoring their parents' wishes, but they don't understand that this could be wrong as well. The dispute itself was not needed. However, because they have come after a generation, they do not know the origination of the dispute. Needless to say that the children will carry the scars, the bitterness, without having anything to do with the origination of the dispute. Now, since we don't know what all and how much we are carrying within us, without getting into the whys, our job is to offer love to heal the petty resentments, jealousies, feelings of not being loved enough, being abandoned, overlooked, and all other negative qualities that cause people to behave in ways that does not look like love. When people are placed within a timeline of love, everything shifts. Everything, everyone becomes radiant, and everything falls into place. Most important is not to get in the zones of why. So if there's anything that comes from your ancestors and your family is still carrying it, you probably know some parts of it, and some parts of it you don't. But it's good that you don't, because the moment you have more awareness of what really went wrong, your mind will come into the action, your ego will come into the action, and then you're going to only make things worse. You can't go back in time and change things. All you have in your capacity is to heal, and by healing I mean conscious awareness of your actions and making sure that you don't pass on the hatred or the wounds to the next generation. Won't you want to be liberated from all the shackles of the past? Can you forgive all your ancestors now, knowing that they did their best with whatever they had? Can you send them divine love and a profound sense of peace? Ironically, we frequently inherit characteristics from earlier family members of our family. While some of them could be serving you very well, some could also potentially hold you back. Let me share an example. I've always wondered how come I have such deep interest in spiritual subjects, and it is not from now. It has been there since I was a child. Now, a part of it is what my soul chose for me in this lifetime, including a family which was partly dysfunctional. I learned my lessons fairly early and developed an empathetic mindset. Much later in life, I got to know that my father's maternal grandfather, meaning my father's Nana, was a priest. There were seeds in the family already, and my inclination in spirituality isn't a coincidence after all. Every time we face inherited tendencies and want to choose wisely, we uplift not just our own, but their spirits also, including the spirits which have transitioned from this plane to another. That's why I have been insisting that you need to look at your role not just in this lifetime and how you see yourself as a physical being. You have to look at where you came from, and that may go back to 100 years, and the people who were responsible to bring you in this lifetime. Another perspective is to understand the oneness. So when you reach in your past, your ancestors, including the bravest and most loving individuals who have probably lived hundreds or thousands of years ago, also stretch in the future because they see the efforts that you are making. Understand how empowered you are. This may sound very heavy and very impractical to you, but let me give you examples. Maybe it'll make things easier for you. We see a lot of women who have entered the workforce now, and it's normal for girls to aspire and pursue the same career goals as men. Look how that has changed the social construct and fueled the economy as well. That didn't happen in a day. It started with one woman in a family standing up and following her heart. Her sisters, daughters followed her footsteps, and soon enough she was the change agent for her entire clan. Another example, probably your father belonged to a community which was not privileged. He still took the courage to challenge the status quo and worked hard to educate you. You qualified for top B school, and now here you are living a lavish life which your grandparents never even dreamt of. These changes don't just stay limited to one family. Progress of one family fuels the growth of the entire community, and before you realize, life gets better just because someone someday refused to comply and decided to choose better, act better, and that one can be you. And I'm not talking from a materialistic point of view. I'm just saying that even if you know that there is some sort of trauma that you are subconsciously carrying and which is not your own, if you decide to heal it for your own self, you are healing it for people who left, who are not there from where you got it. Maybe you don't see them now, but know this, understand this, that if you decide to heal an ancestral trauma or a family trauma, you're doing it not just for yourself, you're doing it for the people who were there before you and the generation which is about to follow you. Maybe you will not understand the impact of it right now, but trust me, the future generations will be so thankful to you. The most significant and also difficult way to show respect for your ancestors is to live up to your full potential and accomplish the goals that you set for yourself here on earth. Each one of us is here to fulfill a specific destiny or karma, and this should not be looked at as negative or limiting. It is in fact an opportunity. We should make it our top priority to recall the instructions given at birth and take steps required to express our talents and most genuine selves. I'm so glad we discussed about this subject today, and in my heart I have only gratitude for this understanding and that I could share this with you all. Now I also know that some of you may not have resonated with this message at all, and which is completely fine. If you are one of them who is left the podcast midway or you've not resonated at all, I want you to listen to this podcast again, do a little bit of research on the subject. Why am I saying this? Because it's not just about you. We are so restricted in our view about life. We think about ourselves, our goals, our dreams. We blame people, we blame our parents, we blame the society, but we don't understand that part of it is also what we are doing for the future generations. And now you have the power to break the pattern and create something beautiful for the next generation. So in this episode, we discussed about expanding our views about our existence. That is, to look at ourselves as part of a lineage. The people who came before us, the people who will follow us. Understood our responsibilities, which is by the means of understanding our journey as soul, healing ancestral trauma, and understand the oneness. So that is all for this episode. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, may your soul be illuminated with the light within. Keep shining the light within.